Okay, welcome everybody. I'm going to call the meeting to order, that being the special council meeting of Warwick Township Council, March 23rd, 2026 at 3:30 starting time as usual. Council, does anybody have disclosure of pecuniary interest or conflict of interest to declare at this time? Seeing none, thank you. I want to welcome everybody who's joining us through our Warwick Township YouTube link. Welcome. I'm now going to do the acknowledgement of ancestral lands. We acknowledge that the Township of Warwick is located on the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, as well as the many Indigenous nations in Ontario, whose footsteps have marked them for centuries. We also wish to acknowledge that we are situated on Treaty 29 and Treaty 25 territories signed by Chippewa chiefs, and we offer our gratitude and respect for these lands. Council, I'll take you to number 5 on the agenda. Councillor commitment days. Does anybody have anything they wish to update today? Councillor Westgate?
I have July 10th to 17th.
Thank you, Councillor. Anybody else? No, seeing none. Thank you. Council, let's go to 5B if we can. Councillors' items and verbal reports. I'll start with Joe today or Councillor Manning. Councillor Manning, do you have anything for today?
I have nothing today, thank you.
Sure. Councillor Westgate.
I have nothing today.
Councillor Morris.
Well, as usual, Kyle, I'm picking on you. I'm getting a lot of calls about the potholes. Are the graders close to getting out?
Thank you. So the roads are being actively monitored, and depending on the weather, unfortunately, we're in a difficult spot where you're getting freezing weather, then thawing weather, then wet weather. They don't want to get out too early and make a worse problem. If you work the gravel too early, you get a bigger pothole, bigger mess. So the guys are out every day, judging them, assessing them. If necessary, you're adding a little bit of gravel to maintain them until they can get into them and open them up. But unfortunately, it's kind of dependent on the weather. We need it to dry out a little bit so they don't make them it worse.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I'm just going to touch on that subject as well. Ontario Street and the condition of the road there, and I've talked to Kyle about that as well. And that's something that Kyle is looking at, and we'll come back with some kind of reporting in the future to council. Kyle, am I correct?
Yes, we'll come up with a couple different options and present them to council for consideration.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Okay, we're going to go to 6. We have staff items, and 6A is an update on veteran sidewalk, and I'm going to turn to Kyle again. Kyle, please.
So first, I would like to apologize. I haven't received the updated quote from Mobile yet. So if I could defer until after the timed events, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, very good, Kyle. We'll wait, and maybe at our next meeting or when you get the numbers, we can look at it again. So thank you very much for that. Appreciate that. Okay, council, we're going to go to number 7. We're going to go to delegations and timed events. Now, we are a little ahead of time. I think what I'll do, council, is I'll take you a little further up in the agenda, and we'll come back to those timed events a little later on. Let's go to number 8, and that's the accounts. And council, just so everybody remembers, the accounts are only on here. It's a special meeting because they weren't available the last time we met. So we're just looking to see if anybody had any questions on those accounts, and we can bless those accounts today. Councillor Morris.
Yeah, I guess East Lambton Minor Hockey Association, $1,000 for the tunnel door replacement. Can you explain that one, please, Frank?
Please.
Yes, thank you. Through to Councillor Morris. We did do some work in the tunnel. We added a new door with a punch code to allow for easier access or secured access for East Lambton for some of their items to be secured. We worked jointly on that project, and we agreed to split or provide a portion of the cost of that project, and that's what came to $1,000.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, councillor. Anybody else have any questions on the accounts? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion. If council saw fit. Moved by Councillor Morris, seconded by Councillor Westgate. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Let's go to number 9. We'll go to number 9A, staff reports. And it's the awarding of the Auld Redmond Drain. And there's a recommendation that Warwick Township Council approves the staff recommendation to award Van Bree Infrastructure the contract for Auld Redmond Drain construction for $272,295.20 excluding HST. How does council wish to deal with that recommendation? Councillor Manning is moving. Seconded by Councillor Westgate. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. We'll go to 9B, Confederation Line, Navarre Road Traffic Analysis. There's a recommendation there too, that Warwick Township Council approves the staff recommendation to increase the Confederation Line and Nauvoo Road intersection funding by $75,000 for traffic signal installation. How does council wish to deal with this recommendation? Councillor Morris?
I first have a question. Where's the 75,000 coming from out of reserves, Trevor?
Yes, Councilor Morris will come out of reserves.
Then I make a motion to accept the proposal.
Thank you, Councillor. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Manning, any further discussion on this particular matter? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. And then we're going to go to 9C, and this is the Trillium funding information around the Warwick Playground. And this is that the recommendation is that Warwick Township Council receives the Warwick Playground Trillium Foundation funding application update report as information. So does anybody have any questions on that particular report? Councillor Morris?
Just Ryan, if you could maybe explain to council when you expect the answer from?
Ryan, please.
Yes, thank you through the chair, Councilor Morris. I don't have a firm date on when that will be awarded. I would expect it to be in early spring. I think there's a lot of people in similar situations looking to move on these projects. They are to be done within a 6-month time period. So I would expect it to happen anytime here by mid-April, mid to end of April.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else have any questions for Ryan? This is a heads up and we appreciate it, Ryan. Ryan's trying to get the funding looked after for this project. If there's no other questions or comments, I would ask for a motion to receive and file the information. Thank you, Councillor Morris, seconded by Councillor Westgate. All in favor? That's carried. Is there any other new business? This is a short meeting today. It's a special meeting. We're not done, obviously. We're going to go back to our presenters. Anybody have any other business they want to bring forward today? Seeing none, thank you. Okay, we're going to go back. We're going to look at the time. And what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to change the order here a little bit. I want to make sure that WM is on time. I want to give Municipality Brook Alvinson enough time as well. And of course, we've got Ontario Clean Water with the report. So what I'm going to do is we're going to change the order a little bit. And I'm going to invite the folks from the Municipality of Brook Alvinson to come up. I believe Jill is going to present. If you'd like to come up, Jill, that would be great. We'll let you get settled in. So for the folks from WM, we'll come back to you. We're going to deal with this, our neighbors first here. And Jill, the system works. I don't know if anybody explained it to you. All you have to do is put the microphone on and then you're live. So welcome, Jill. Jill is here with some information and a request for us today. I think it's quite exciting. I'm going to turn it over to you, Jill. You have the floor.
I'd like to start by thanking you, Mayor Case, and the councillors and the township staff for hearing us out today. I think most of you know me, but for those who don't, my name is Jill Joris, and I am working for the Municipality of Brook Alvinson doing some fundraising and marketing. Our current project is the arena floor. We are replacing some of the ice plant equipment and the floor itself. We're about 3 weeks away from the starting date, and it will be completed by October 1st. The Alvinson residents and some of Warwick have contributed very generously so far. So we are very hopeful that we'll meet our goal. Today, we are here to advise you of an exciting fundraising initiative. We've been granted a chance to have a OHL exhibition game between the London Knights and the Erie Otters on August 29th. When we were offered this opportunity as a fundraiser, we immediately thought of sharing this high-level hockey event with our neighbors in Warwick, as our floor will not be completed until October 1st. This event will bring some high-level hockey and community pride and regional attention to Warwick. The event overview is a full exhibition game between the Knights and the Erie Otters. The community, it's a community fundraising initiative for the Alvinson Arena Floor Project. They're offering us a meet and greet opportunity as well with the players. And we're hoping to plan a family-friendly event designed to bring both our residents together and attract visitors to the area. So what we're hoping is that Warwick might be willing to consider an in-kind use of the following spaces. The ice surface, pending board and glass approval, the London Knights have to make sure that that's good to go. The Lambton Mutual Community Hall or an appropriate space for the meet and greet afterwards, and kitchen facilities because they require a meal after their game. We're approaching some Warwick Township service groups as well to assist us in this endeavor and also earn funds for their community projects, including the Watford Optimist Club, to request their support in addition to others to assist with the meals. Their volunteer capacity and community presence would complement the township support and help ensure a smooth, successful experience for all attendees. I believe this event would showcase your beautiful new facility, boost the local economic activity through visitors, vendors, and event traffic, strengthen community spirit by bringing a major sporting event to our rural communities, support local fundraising goals with proceeds reinvested into community initiatives, and create partnerships with local organizations and service clubs. I think I covered what we'd like to request: the ice surface, the upper hall, maybe the kitchen, the main area, and support staff where required, facility access and logistics. Ryan and the Parks and Rec staff have been very helpful so far in this project. We really appreciate everything they've done and information they've given us thus far. Your in-kind contributions would help us reduce our event costs and allow more funds to go directly to our floor project. Community facilities like our arenas thrive when neighbors support one another. In 2001, we did put our ice in early while your facilities neared completion. This is an opportunity for Warwick to take part in supporting the Albertson Arena and continuing our traditions of communities helping one another. I believe this event represents a wonderful example of communities working together and is a unique opportunity for Warwick to help support Brooke Galvinson's fundraising initiatives while hosting a high-profile sporting event. I'd like to thank you for considering our request, and we'd be happy to answer any questions or provide additional details as needed.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Jill, for your presentation. And before I open it up to questions from council, I'm just going to check with Ryan. I know, Ryan, you've been talking to the folks and everything. Does this all work for you and your staff to be able to do such a thing, Ryan?
Yes, thank you. It does certainly sound like an exciting initiative, and I'm certainly happy to help in terms of facility logistics and planning, and wherever any assistance you may need from us, happy to help on that front. In terms of the dates and the facilities, the items that you mentioned, the facilities within the East Lambton Community Complex and Watford Arena, they would certainly be available on the date in which you guys would like to host this event. So on that front, we're, as a Parks and Recreation standpoint, happy to support where need be.
Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate that. I'll open up for questions. Who has a question for our guest today, if anybody? I do think it's a great way for us to help support our neighbors to the south. And it's also, I agree with what Jill said. I think it's good for our community as well. So this is a good example of what communities can do to work together to help each other out. So that's my only comment on this. I like this initiative, and good for you folks for coming up with it. That's my 2 cents. Anybody else want to weigh in? Councilor Morris?
Yeah, could you repeat that date, Jill?
Yeah, it's August 29th.
Thank you.
Okay. I'd like to let these folks go away today with a little certainty if council is willing to sort of give some direction today and give Ryan the opportunity to also plan for this. It's a big event. We're talking about the OHL. So there's lots of things that have to be planned and looked after. So I guess I'm asking council where they want to go on this. Do we want to approve something like this today? Counselor Westgate.
I'll move, we go ahead with this event as long as they'll accept our arena and everything's fine.
I'll second the motion.
Very good, thank you. Any further discussion on this issue? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Thank you, Jill. Appreciate your presentation.
Perfect.
Good luck with everything.
Thank you.
Okay, council, we're going to turn the page back. And we have a delegation today from WM, and they're here to talk about their capital plan. And I believe it's Wayne Jenkins that's going to be speaking. Wayne, if you'd like to come up. And we'll give you a chance to get settled. So Wayne is here today to make a presentation, as I said, on the capital plan. So Wayne, you've been here before. All you got to do is hit the button on the microphone and you're up and ready to go. So I'll turn the floor over to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, councilors. Thank you, staff. We have been here before, but we're going to be here for a while yet, so you may see us again in the future. My name is Wayne Jenkins. I am the engineering manager at the Twin Creeks landfill facility just north of town. And on behalf of our team, which includes Louisa Hadsett in the gallery and Eric Paquette, our new district manager, who does send his regrets today. I'm here to share our 2026 site construction plan. As many of you may already know, WM and a few members of staff and the mayor have monthly meetings. At a recent monthly meeting, we brought forward kind of an update on our construction schedule for this year. And it was suggested that a delegation to council could be beneficial, letting everyone and letting the community know through this meeting what we have coming up this year and into the future. So within your packages, I believe our delegation package was shared. I see it there on the screen. There is lots of information here. I do not plan to read every slide to you. I'm hoping to kind of hit the highlights and try and keep it to a minimum. Absolutely, though, I'm here to answer any questions if any come up, either today or in the future. We're always here in the community and always available to answer. Okay. So first off, we do have routine construction work. It does not make it into this delegation package. We are constantly and throughout the year adding to our landfill gas collection system. We are also installing cover materials, interim cover, daily cover on our landfill on a go-forward basis. Those do hit our definition of capital works, but are not significant enough to mention here. Okay? We do have three larger projects. They're listed here on this slide. I discuss each of these in a little more detail as we work our way through. The first I'm just generally calling Street C resurfacing. The second is a expansion of our landfill gas flaring facility. And the third is the preparation of our next cell, which will be cell 8 at the landfill. I have a couple slides. I think it's about 3 or 4 slides that kind of cover each of these 3 projects. And here on the next slide, we do a little bit of background about our street project. We initially prepared the site back in 2009. We're now 2026, how time flies when you're having fun. But in 2017, we replaced our first section of road. That section went from the site entrance through the scale facility past the public drop-off area. Probably most of you have made it at least that far into the site. In 2021, we did an additional road replacement, which was from the intersection just past the public drop-off, heading around to the south end of the site and up to our south high access road, the road that we use to get trucks up on top of the landfill. The reason I mentioned these 2 previous projects is that this is simply a third. This is the third section. This is nothing abnormal for us. We understand the scope and complexity of the project. But now we're going to work from that same intersection and we're going to head north, up past our office, past our maintenance facility, up generally to the area of our emergency entrance off of Zion Line, not up to Zion Line, but just up to that area. and heading a little bit east to our new north high access road. Equivalent to the one on the south, we will have a north high access road now that we're landfilling at the north end of the site. This work has been awarded to a Warwick Township based contractor. Great to hear, great to share. We expect this work to begin in May. We actually have a target commencement date of May the 4th, and we will continue through likely September by the time we get everything finished. On the next slide, we show a little bit of a figure kind of generally showing the area. This was oriented where top of the picture is north. You can see the side entrance coming in off Nauvoo, what would go in through the scale, that intersection I was just describing, and then the area coming north are all kind of in that red area, the red hashed area, intended to show each of our different drawings, the detail, the specifications, et cetera, that our contractors and our project managers will use to make sure this work is all completed correctly. The final slide on this project on the next page kind of makes everyone aware that we've thought through this project. We've thought about the staging of this work. We've thought about traffic control. We've talked about additional dust mitigation measures that we will put in place. There will be a longer on-site travel distance. That longer on-site travel distance could potentially equal additional dust emissions. We want to make sure we control those and don't have any nuisances or anything like that. In general, this is kind of a summary of the first of 3 projects. I just want to give a little opportunity, any general questions, or we can do this again at the end.
Does anybody have any questions for Wayne at this particular time? Yes, Councilor Mooney.
Yes, so I'm just trying to break down your assessment on this. And so just to clarify, in the future, you guys will be using the Zion line. So there will be more trucks coming. Most of the trucks, when Hell 8's open, will be coming onto Zion line, then up to the intersection, then onto Nauvoo. Okay, that's.
No, and I'm sorry, I can see how that was interpreted, and let me give a little correction there. No, all traffic stays on site. The Zion line entrance has never and will likely never be used. It is in place though as an emergency situation. If access through our Nauvoo entrance was, thank you, compromised. Okay, darn me for saying never. No, we're simply bringing that road up to the fence in that area. That's what I was trying to describe. Sorry for that.
Does anybody else in council have a question at this point in time? No, and don't worry, if you ever do have to use it, we'll be sure to bill you for the damages done after the fact. All right. Yes, I figured you were. Okay, carry on, please.
The second project that we're here and excited to talk about today is the expansion of our landfill gas flaring facility. Again, I think most people in this room are familiar with what we have in place now and how it has grown over time. That facility started in 2009, where we initially installed 2 buildings and a single flare. Inside the 2 buildings, the first is our control building. That building houses the motor control center, all of the SCADA system, the automation, the data management, the landfill gas analyzer, air compressor, air drying equipment, and an operator station. The second building houses our blower equipment, or essentially the vacuums that pull the gas out of the landfill and push it to the flares currently, and eventually to our RNG facility when it comes online later this year. 1 flare was initially installed back in 2009. In 2020, we added a second landfill gas flare. And what you're going to see with the project this year is an expansion of the blower building and the installation of a 3rd gas flare. Okay. The blower building will approximately double in size. It will go from housing 2 blowers to housing 4. That is to allow additional flexibility, maintenance activities, those sorts of things with blowers. And as the landfill grows, the requirement to handle and manage landfill gas also grows or increases. Construction work here has been awarded to a Lambton County-based contractor. So again, generally close. Work has already begun in terms of sourcing materials, but work will begin on site in May. We do have a building permit application already submitted to the building department and are working our way through the approval of that building permit application to allow that building expansion to take place. On this slide, you can see a picture showing the existing facility with the control building being the one on the left, the blower building being the one on the right. And this shows the single flare. The second one is just off the right. The third will be further off to the right. Doubling connection point. We will also be adding in a connection point for a future fourth flare. Okay. And I guess finally, one additional piece to add here before I get into the impacts and mitigation is that one question that we've received is why are we building flare capacity when we're also building RNG? And the answer is backup. The RNG facility is a standalone facility. It will take most of the gas that the landfill produces and convert it into a green energy, into a renewable natural gas. But the landfill needs to have the ability to destroy all of the landfill gas that's collected, whether RNG exists and is operational or not. So that is the rationale. For most of the time, this flare facility will sit idle, but it is a backup to the RNG facility should it ever be required. Okay. We are aware that there could be some construction impacts. We are planning mitigation here. There will be several short duration shutdowns required in order to complete the tie-ins, be that pipe work, be that electrical associated with the expansion. I think we have a pretty good system in place for providing notification to the township of those planned type maintenance activities or those planned typed construction activities, and we will work to minimize those durations whenever possible. I'll pause there for any questions about the flare facility construction.
Councilor Morris.
Yeah, Wayne, I guess I got some questions about your short-term shutdowns. Now, are these going to be completed in the one day, in the working day, and be back up again? Well, we all know from past experience that sometimes that doesn't work. Will your odor system be available 24/7 if that does not happen? Okay, thank you.
Yep. Two-part question there. Absolutely, preparation for this is the best approach in making sure that we understand the work to be done and that we're ready for it. Single day shutdowns are the plan. Okay. However, understanding that not everything goes to plan as you worded, we do have an odor mitigation system in place and are ready to put that into operation should it be required.
Does anybody else have any questions? There is a new list of contacts everybody has on their desk today, council, of the folks to get a hold of if there's a circumstance or a situation. And again, the one thing we've asked through our monthly meetings is that WM communicates to us and lets us know when they're going to be doing such constructions where there might be odor issues, so we can let the public know. And we've made it very clear to them that we aren't in favor of those issues occurring if they can be helped, but we want that communication at the end of the day if it's going to occur, so we can let people know, because we all know there's no fun to be had when we have these days where the odors are just that bad. So we do have the new protocol list of communications in front of us today as well. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Jekin.
No, and thank you for bringing that up, Mr. Mayor. I had brought copies, unsure if they would have made it out for today's meeting, so happy to hear that contact list has been shared with council and staff. That's great. The third project to be discussed here today is the preparation of our cell 8 liner area. And there's a bit of a backstory here, a bit of background shown on the first slide, in that this cell will be built in an area of the landfill that already has contaminated soil in place now. Specifically, this is the now closed historic landfill on the east side of the site that was filled with contaminated soil between 2005 and 2010. It has always been part of the plan of the current landfill expansion that area will be excavated and relined to new standards and have new waste put in its place. Our plan for the development. Our plan for the development of cell 8 will happen over 3 years. The first portion of the work, which is the above grade excavation, so the mounded contaminated soil that was placed now 15 years ago, will be excavated down to grade this year. Next year, we will excavate the below grade and the native fill below that down to the elevations for the new cell 8. Okay. Anyway, lots of words here on this first slide. The 3-year plan is presented on this next slide. So site preparation happening this year, cell construction to happen in 2027, with phase development with cell 8 being built in 2 phases, cell 8A and 8B over 2027 and 2028. A figure here on the next slide does a decent job attempting to describe the overlay of the 2 footprints. These are 2 figures placed above each other. In the top figure, you can see a dashed line, a dashed rectangle, and in its lower right-hand corner, you can see where it overlaps with the old, now closed landfill. That is the monofill area, old landfill cells 8, 10, and 12 that were filled with contaminated soil now 15 to 20 years ago. Those 3 cells will be excavated to make space for new landfill cell 8. Okay. Again, here, we are very aware of the potential impacts that could happen from this. Unlike the previous 2 projects that I have discussed, that we have plenty of experience with, we've built roads before, we've built flares before, we have not excavated old contaminated soil cells before. Okay. That is why we are doing this over a 2-year period. That is why we are going down to grade this year. We do not plan to make any sort of a pond, any sort of a low area that could accumulate with water. We will leave it so that it can all drain naturally. But we're digging into we're digging into contaminated soil, which by definition is a waste, just to be clear. That could have odor, that could have dust, that could have something. So we will manage this in a progressive way. We will manage this slowly over the course of the summer. This material will be used beneficially as cover material in our current landfill. We will bring the material forward, use it as cover, use it to cover the waste that has been coming in on a daily basis. We will have road watering equipment ready to handle any dust impacts. We will have our mobile deodorization unit available should any odors be detected. And if things get intense, we will simply stop and figure out our next approach. Okay. Again, we have a level of comfort. This is a weak strength contaminated soil, but we do not have a history with doing this project. We have some unknowns. We will be cautious. Okay. That really covers our 3rd project. I anticipate there may be questions about this one. So I open the floor.
So I'm going to go to Councillor Manning, but I'm also going to ask, we have our lawyer with us today, our environmental expert who looks after our technical review team, Peter Pickfield. Peter, I'm going to ask you if you wouldn't mind joining us up here in the vacant spot, because you may have a question around this today as well. So I'm going to open up the questions to council. So not to put you on the spot, Peter, did you have any comments on anything that's been said? We're talking about getting into the old Watford landfill area. Just ask if you have any comments at this time before we get into council, but was said, and if you do, you just push the microphone and you go live. Okay, very good. Thank you.
Yeah, 2 questions for you, Wayne. One is, how much information or data do you have about this contaminated soil area? How, the quality of the soil, the content of the soil in that area at this point?
Yeah.
Here, I get you.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. I think as background to this, and this does go back quite a ways, back to 2005 and probably before 2005 when these permits for these contaminated soil cells were first put into place. And not to say that predates you, Peter, but it predates me. So there was strict analytical acceptance requirement for this material. And it was as strict as 1/10 of the allowable limit for contaminated soil at that time. So we're talking a quite weak strength contaminated soil was what was landfilled in these cells. It was always the plan, and has always been the plan, that this material would be excavated in the future, that this airspace would be reutilized for the current expansion. We're just now at the point of proceeding with that work.
Should have put your microphone on, please, again.
I'll get to it. I'll get it. And the sort of couple follow-up questions. One is, will there be testing of the soils before they used as cover, like between after you excavate them, will be any kind of testing of those soils to just confirm their quality?
And so you had said 2 questions. Were you going to do them in pieces?
Yeah.
Okay. Apologies, just making sure. There is no plan for additional testing. The material was all tested upon original acceptance. So we are aware that the material meets requirements for use as as alternative daily cover in the landfill expansion. And that is our plan, is to excavate and utilize.
Peter, do you have another question or comment?
Just one more question. The landfill has a air quality monitoring program. And that's going to be, I'm assuming, operating. Is there air quality monitoring equipment near where you're going to be excavating that might pick anything up?
No, great question. Thank you. I'd never thought to mention the air quality monitoring program. That's a great addition. Peter is correct that the site does have a comprehensive air quality monitoring program. It includes multiple parts, a total apologies, tongue just got twisted there. A total hydrocarbon survey, a volatile organic chemistry survey, and a dust component, or TSP, total suspended particulate. That program will be in place, has been in place since the landfill began back in 2009, and will be operational through this entire project. In terms of proximity, there is a dust sampler just at the northeast corner of the landfill. Would you mind going back a slide? Back one more, right there. So northeast would be top right-hand corner of either of those 2 figures. So generally within a few hundred meters of the proposed activity.
Peter, any follow-up?
Yeah, I'm not going to try and dominate this, but one of our peer reviews concern has been the need for continuous monitoring at this landfill of air quality. And I know there's no plan to put in continuous monitoring, but would this be something that might trigger consideration of that idea of continuous monitoring at the landfill of air quality?
No plan for continuous air quality monitoring. And specifically that recommendation is about dust monitoring, not the full air quality program. This absolutely can be generating dust. This is a construction activity like anywhere that we move soil on site. And as a landfill, we have a large soil excavation and movement process on an annual basis. So this is roughly this year about 250,000 cubic meters to be moved. And again, we're talking normal construction for us is in the 700,000 cubic meters. This is not large in a quantity perspective, but this is special in terms of the material that we're moving.
Anything else, Mr. Pickfield? Councillor Manning.
Thank you. Well, Mr. Pickfield answered a couple of my questions there, so I thank that, but I still have just a couple more on the soil testing and stuff like that. So is there any plans to remediate the soil when it's pulled out before you reuse it somewhere else? Are you going to do a screening, not a screening, but a cleaning process on it? My worry is if you're going to be using it as coverage and that it's going to be sticking to vehicles and it's contaminated soil, like, are you going to mitigate that it doesn't get moved around on site? And are you going to guarantee us that this soil is going to be put into safe storage and not just kind of passed around? Also, I know I kind of just throw this one, I hate to use my last one, but also when you're done the removal of the soil that you know about, and you said that you have paperwork on what was in there, are you gonna do testing in the surrounding area, soil sampling to make sure that everything has been remediated in full, because we know that this stuff can leach out, you know, and cause quite a bit of havoc around the surrounding area.
Yep, no, thank you. And I think I got all three questions there. Now that I got them in threes instead of one at a time, I'm not sure which approach I like better, so. First off, no, there is no plan to clean or process any soil. It is simply reuse. This material has been monofilled. It is now it is now being utilized for a beneficial use, which is daily or interim cover at the landfill. That is a beneficial use under the excess soil guidelines. And this is a good news story in that, number one, we're not using more horizontal space for landfilling. We're using the same space again and repurposing this material for another use on site. Second is storage and where this material is going to be used. As a generality, the site today can use greater strength contaminated soil as cover than the material that was brought in historically and monofilled in these old landfill cells. So this material has less risk potentially to it than any soil that's brought in today. Last, you mentioned any additional sampling. No, there is no intent to find out if there's anything outside of the limits of what we excavate. Reason for that is twofold. Again, the figure that showed the overlay, we're taking out only the monofill cells. Just to the east of that, there is a waste cell. Cells 9, 11, 7, 9, and 11 have waste in them. So just beyond the limit of this weak strength contaminated soil, there is higher strength waste. Checking the limit to make sure we got it all. Not necessary when we know there's more just adjacent to it. I think I got all three. Okay.
Does anybody else on council have any questions? Councilor Westgate.
Just a comment, when we made the agreement to bring this soil in, soil was supposed to be tested on the site before it come off. And Waste Management was supposed to test it when it got to the site. So the soil should be fine. That was in the agreement that we made. So and when we made that agreement, we hadn't at the time expected it to be, the site to be expanded, and it wasn't going to be used, but now that the expanded site, you may be using it.
Anybody else have a comment? Councilor Morris.
Yeah, Wayne, I got a couple here for you. You mentioned you're gonna be getting close to an actual waste cell. What kind of barrier are you giving between the two cells?
Would you mind if I simply added to Councillor Westgate's comment just before? Councillor Westgate, I do appreciate you mentioning the testing upon acceptance at the site. That is in the delegation here. I simply didn't say it when I was doing the summary. So I appreciate you bringing that up. That is 100% true that all of this material, when received at site, now historically, this 10 to 15 years ago, was all tested upon acceptance at the site. So we know it, we have its records, etc. Secondly, in terms of barrier, to answer your question, Councillor Morris, there is a barrier that happens. The contaminated soil was landfilled prior to the waste material, meaning that sorry, this is hard to describe without using hands or a figure, which I did not bring here today. But the contaminated soil was placed first, then the waste was placed. We're not excavating waste. We're leaving a section, meaning some of the soil stays in place. Between the two eventual footprints, once new cell has been built and lined, there is an access road that travels between the two footprints to ensure that we have access to all the pumping stations, the gas infrastructure, etc. Some of you may be familiar with that road that exists between the two landfill mounds today. it gets realigned through this construction, but does stay in place. So there is a section that gets excavated, gets refilled with a native clean fill material. From a monitorability perspective, we want to know that each landfill is distinct. So there is a barrier between the two landfills and a barrier left between before we get into excavating waste.
Second.
Yeah, one more question. I've had a little bit of experience in this, not near as much as you guys have, mind you. But the technology to analyze these wastes has tremendously increased in the last 20 years since you dumped this. I have never seen an operation like this happen that I can recall without you doing core samples. I think I would love to see core samples taken till you find out exactly what you have in today's technology, but there might be chemicals there that you didn't analyze for in 2005 that were there that we will pick up on monitoring today. That's my question.
Sorry, Councillor Morris, I'm not sure I heard a question. I heard that there may be chemicals there, and I suppose we agree.
Okay, I'm asking you, why are you not doing core samples to prove that the soil is the contaminants that you say before you start digging?
Thank you for clarifying, Councillor Morris. Okay. I guess the rationale is testing and analytical is generally more common when material is leaving a site. In this case, the material is not leaving, it is being managed on site. Therefore, analytical or the excess soil guidelines do not apply. We are simply moving a low risk contaminated soil from one spot on site to another.
I would still be a lot more comfortable for the community if you did core samples to prove that what you're digging up is what you know is there before you start just digging a hole.
I appreciate that suggestion. Let me take that away and see if I can come up with an option that would satisfy.
Thank you.
Okay, does anybody else have any questions? Mr. Jenkins at this time. Anybody from staff have any questions this time? Seeing none? All right. All right, well, thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Council, could I get a motion to receive and file the written portion of Mr. Jenkins' presentation? Councilor Morris is making that, seconded by Councilor Manning. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Okay. Last but not least, we have Ontario Clean Water Agency here to do their annual report. First off, I apologize, folks, for the delay in moving you on the agenda. So anyways, welcome and have a seat. And how the system works is you just push the button and you're good.
Afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council and staff for having me here today. I'm Joe Daly, the Senior Operations Manager for Aqua. Today I have the annual water report for the Warwick distribution system. I'll start with the compliance report card. So we had one MECP inspection, one QMS external audit, 8 community complaints throughout the year, and 3 water main breaks. There were no adverse quality incidents or non-compliances reported throughout the year. As mentioned in the report card, an MECP inspection took place June 4th of 2025. A rating of 100% was received, meaning there were no non-compliances found during this inspection. Into flows taken from the Laws system, you'll see 445,234 meters cubed were taken in 2025, compared to 410,047 meters cubed in 2024. So there's a decent increase in here, but this is just believed to be due to the drier year we experienced in 2025. You'll see through June through September on 2025, we took over 40,000 cubes each month. All testing and sampling throughout the year is right where we want it to be, all within limits and regulations. Our THMs are at 41 with a limit of 100. Our HAAs are at 16.35 with a limit of 80. So there's no concern there. At the bottom of the report, you'll see a list of repairs, installs, replacements, or other major expenses throughout the year. We replaced or repaired 3 hydrants, 2 main valves, the 3 water mains I mentioned before. There are also 6 water service repairs or installs. The water main commissioning took place on Sunset Ave, and we also purchased a spare booster pump for the booster station out on Zion. That is all other than questions.
Anybody have any questions from our presenters? Counselor Westgate?
We had 8 complaints. What were the general complaints?
Sorry, I suppose that, sorry, through you, Mr. Mayor, to the counselor. I guess I could have touched on that when I was presenting. So 4 of the 8 complaints were just people without water. We go out, we test it, ensure everything is good on our side of the system. It's then determined to be internal, so we would recommend that they call a plumber for that. We had 2 low pressure complaints, just due to flushing of blow offs or hydrants at the time that causes low pressure in some areas of the system. And we had 2 colored water complaints from a homeowner on a dead end. So there's no concerns with that. The water's safe. It just kind of happens at dead ends in a system. We flush that out.
Any further questions for our presenters? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to receive and file the written portion of this report. Counselor Manning is making that motion, seconded by Counselor Westgate. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Sorry for keeping you a little later. Appreciate your time. Thanks very much. Okay, that concludes the open portion of our meeting today. Thank you, everybody who took the time to join us today. I'm now looking for a motion to go in camera pursuant to Section 239 of the Municipal Act for the following reasons. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Counselor Morris is making the motion, seconded by Counselor Manning. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you.